guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Usil, and today we're gonna do a finale of the Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. So last time I did do sort of a twist of the whole project because I felt an overwhelming need to go through those last little eyeshadows that I haven't really made up my mind about yet, whether or not to declutter. And so instead of continuing trying to reach my goals on the other eyeshadows that were already in my project, I decided to roll them all out. I knew how I felt about them, and I rolled in 5 new eyeshadows that I wanted to try out and just get an idea of how I felt about them. Now, I have already done a decluttering of my entire makeup. I have one part of that declutter up as a video, and I am about to edit the second part of that video, which is eyeshadows. So you will see in there which eyeshadows are going to go from my collection, but I will also do a little bit of a spoiler in this video as well, because there is 2 eyeshadows that I rolled in last time that I will be decluttering. And that was really just the point of me rolling in those eyeshadows, just to figure out which ones I felt like was worth still having in my collection and which ones wasn't. So we're going to talk about the 5 eyeshadows that I decided to roll in last time first, and then I'm going to go through and just do a little bit of a recap of this whole entire project. I didn't do too many eyeshadow looks with these eyeshadows that I rolled in this time, so I think instead of showing you an in-depth or doing an in-depth of those eyeshadows, I just wanted to show you some of my favorite eyeshadows looks throughout the year, and maybe some that just stood out to me for one reason or another. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do today. So we're gonna start out with the Creme Brulee from Wet n Wild. This is just a cream matte eyeshadow that are great to use in just right after applying my eyeshadow primer. I go all over with this eyeshadow, mainly in the crease, sometimes on the lid, and then as a final kind of touching up, I blend out any rough edges or just if anything needs to be blended after I'm done with my eyeshadow look. I like to use one of these shades, and I think it's very nice to have a single cream shade for me to use for that purpose. But I did have 2 of those that wasn't in a palette already. I had 2 singles, so I was kind of standing between this one and one from Inglot, and I did use this 4 times before I made up my mind, and I decided I wanted to declutter this one, which was a surprise because I felt like I used this a little bit in the summertime this year, and I felt like it was nice, buttery, smooth to use, but I think it has changed since then actually, and I feel like it was a lot more dry and chalky. I do think the Inglot one is also a little bit chalky. That one is actually even older than this one, but out of the 2, I did prefer the Inglot one, so that's that. I decided I wanted to declutter this. So I'm glad I came to the conclusion. Yeah, that was that. Here's a close-up of this one. Also, Inglot 357 was the other shade that I decided to declutter from this project. That's what this one looks like. I only used this once before I decided. I felt like I had other eyeshadows that were performing just as good or even better than this one, and it was very similar in color. So for that reason, I decided I wanted this one to go as well. So that's $3.57, just a matte, light brown shade, leaning, you know, cool. And then we have Inglot number 329, a darker matte brown shade that I decided to keep. I did enjoy it. I only used this once as well, but it was just an easy decision once I used it. I feel like this is just a beautiful, cooler toned matte brown that I can just pair with a lot of my favorite eyeshadows, I feel like. So, and it was still performing very well. So here is a close-up of that. Next we have Faux Fur from MakeupGeek. I also decided to keep this one. I used this 4 times. It's such a great shade to use as a crease color and also just to darken it. I feel like I can build this up to become quite dark actually. It still has a lot of like punch to it. Yeah, do enjoy this one. So this is a keep. So this is definitely a keep. And then lastly, we have the Hot Makeup Marble eyeshadow that I used 9 times this time around and still really enjoy. I just really enjoy this eyeshadow. So it really was a no-brainer. Just a beautiful like pink champagne-y taupey shade. That looks nice in the inner corner, nice as a lid shade. I can even use it as a sort of one eyeshadow look, one and done eyeshadow look, I think you call it. This is what that one looks like. So happy that I decided to roll in these ones and just change it up a little bit, change the rules a little bit, because it was just so much more convenient for me to make a final decision and really figure out what eyeshadows that were working for me, which ones I had, you know, multiples of that I didn't absolutely have to keep. So I'm really excited to finish editing that last part of my declutter and just hear what you guys think of my eyeshadow collection now. And I'm going back and forth on what kind of eyeshadow project I'm gonna do for next year. I was initially planning to pick an eyeshadow palette, but now I'm kind of on the fence. Maybe I should do, because I've watched Rebecca Morgan do her eyeshadow, like Pan Those Eyeshadows project, and I'm not sure if that's the original way to use or to do the Pan Those eyeshadows, but she actually randomly picked 5 eyeshadows from her entire eyeshadow collection. So it could be eyeshadows from a palette or from a single eyeshadow. And I was a little bit intrigued to do that one, because I feel like if you do it that way, then you will be sort of forced to use at the highest or at the most 5 different eyeshadow palettes. And I think that would be in a way better, because I get to focus on more eyeshadow palettes at a time, so I wouldn't neglect my entire makeup or eyeshadow collection. But if I choose one eyeshadow palette, it would be harder in a way to use the rest of my eyeshadows. But at the same time, if I choose one eyeshadow palette to focus on, then I could just roll in 1 or 2 eyeshadow palettes at a time. Like maybe I'll focus on 3 eyeshadow palettes with a main focus of that one eyeshadow palette throughout, let's say, a month or so, and then I'll roll in 2 new ones. I could do that. And maybe, well, I know one thing is for sure. I saw one of you commenting that you were eager to see how many uses I would have to do on that Inglot Gold eyeshadow that I've had in this project for a long time throughout this year. And I thought, that would be an interesting experiment. So I think I'm just going to sort of have that in mind throughout next year as well, and be sure to mark every time I use that eyeshadow, just to see how many uses I would have to make, because I don't mark or like check off every single time I do or use every single eyeshadow in my collection. I'm not able to do that. But with that one gold eyeshadow, it would be really interesting. So I'm gonna do that, whether I include it in the sort of eyeshadow project that I'm gonna do, or if I just unofficially do it. I don't know. But yeah, let me know if you have like good ideas on how I should do my eyeshadow project pan for next year, because I'm definitely gonna do one. I just haven't decided on what I'm gonna do. Anyways, let me show you my favorite eyeshadow looks throughout the year. Alright, so I did this makeup look in February, and I've got a new phone, and the information about which eyeshadows I used wasn't, I wasn't able to get that. And so I don't know what kind of eyeshadows I've used. I can guess that I might have used the Inglot Bright Mattes palette together and like combined with the Inglot Gold eyeshadow, maybe. But I did really enjoy that combination of that a little bit of a warmth goldy look with that bright pink. Really, my biggest surprise for me was when I decided to roll in the Inglot red eyeshadow, matte red eyeshadow. I barely used that one, and I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to combine it with other shades. It was just, I didn't know what to do with it. But one of the eyeshadow looks that I did with it was just to slather it on all over my lid, my crease, my lower lash line, everywhere. I only had that red eyeshadow, and to my surprise, I really liked it. It was completely out of my comfort zone. I would never have thought of using a red eyeshadow all over my lid or around my eyes like that, but I thought it looked really cool and edgy, and I don't know if I'm the kind of person to pull that off, but yeah, I liked it. It was fun. I don't know if it's gonna be something I will do a lot in the future, but I will definitely try it again. And I also learned that I could absolutely use that red eyeshadow to sort of deepen up the outer part of my eyes and kind of give it some warmth, and that really helped to enhance the blue in my eyes. So I really liked it for that. In April, I had this little bit of a fun like pastel eyeshadow look. Again, I can't remember which eyeshadows I used. I'm guessing, I think I used the Beauty Bay Pastels palette. I'm pretty sure of that. And then, so I used most likely the orange shade, the matte shade in my crease, and I think I used Makeupgeek Luna, maybe, or Wet n Wild Nutty. That could also possibly, yeah, that's possibly the one I used. And I think I used the Inglot matte yellow in my inner corners, and then I have a minty eyeliner from Beauty Bay that I had in my waterline. Really, I think that was like a fun spring eyeshadow look. I did do a lot of purples, but yeah, that's kind of one of my favorite eyeshadows. Then we had that whole latte trend. I think it was latte, like chocolatey matte brown makeup trend. And at first I thought it sounded a little bit like dumb in a way, because that it's just matte brown eyeshadow. Like, who hasn't tried that in the past throughout their makeup journey? But I thought, okay, well, I can do that. I believe I used the matte browns from my W7, my Atlantis palette, and I just did a matte brown eyeshadow look, mainly just focusing on just brown on my eyeshadows, brown in my face, not too much blush, brown on my lips, and this is how it turned out, and I really enjoyed the makeup look. I was surprised that I enjoyed it that much, and that I felt like it was something different, even though it was just brown eyeshadow. But yeah, I felt like it enhanced my blue eyes, and I really enjoyed it. I was also experimenting a lot with green eyeshadows. I did end up buying the Colourpop, the Child palette, which contains a lot of beautiful greens, and so I did play around with green eyeshadow quite a bit. And I did also play around a lot with matte yellow eyeshadow. I applied it in the crease quite a bit and also in the inner corners, and I paired it with the Makeupgeek Luna. I mean, I adored Makeupgeek Luna this year. It was just, I just fell in love with that eyeshadow. Yeah, Luna, I just found Luna to be a hidden gem of my makeup eyeshadow collection. I also tried out some brighter eyeshadow looks. I did use the gold eyeshadow quite a bit because that was in my project for like the entirety of, well, not the entirety of the year, but most of the year. And so, but I'm still not sick of it, which is a good sign. It's just one of my favorite gold eyeshadows. So yeah, that was just a little bit of a roundup of my project for this year, my eyeshadow project. I just want to thank you so much for watching my content, and I'm really excited for new projects for next year, and I hope you are too. So yeah, thank you so much again for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and see you again next time. Bye.